With parachains, why it's sexy? Why parachains are sexy? Because you can have all these integrations.
My name is Claudio, and this is Subsocial, the channel that brings you crypto news, reviews, tutorials, and interviews with the focus on the Kusama ecosystem. And talking about Kusama, joining me today, we've got Alex Siman from Subsocial Network, and also Zachary, who's also working with Subsocial, but is also part of Chaos DAO, which is a really interesting community on Discord. If you're into adding ape NFTs or ape memes on top of your Canaria birds, we should say, right? Because it's become really famous for that now. So welcome, guys. Yeah, if you could please just quickly introduce yourselves. Maybe Alex, like, what do you do with Subsocial? What do you work with exactly? How did you start Subsocial? And maybe give us a bit more background, like when did you even start in crypto and Polkadot?
Yeah, what I do with Subsocial, I live with it every day, like 14, 16 hours a day. This is what I do with it. Yeah, like originally I'm professional software developer. I developed different complexity web applications like backend, front-end on both sides. That's why I know how to build them from A to Z. And I have been working in this software development sphere since I finished university in 2008. And then somewhere around 2016, I started to investigate how I can get into startups. And then like half a year later, I thought like, okay, let's try what is this blockchain stuff in 2017, plus there were this ICO boom and all this stuff. It was very interesting to me. And then I very quickly discovered, of course, Ethereum, smart contracts. So I started programming them. And then like in summer 2017, I was quite efficient with Solidity, and I programmed on Solidity like for 1 year, something like that. But then shortly I found all these limitations of slowness, gas fee, and Solidity is not a language, it's total crap, sorry guys.
But it's easier to learn as a developer, right?
It's easy to learn and easy to do mistakes and shoot yourself in the feet for $2 million, for example. It's very easy as well. So it's not cool, you know. But yeah, like several years later, right now, it's much more better to program in Solidity, much better experience and tools and all these test frameworks and all this stuff, of course. But in 2017, it was quite a nightmare. And also not everyone understood what is happening, not so many resources like we can find today on YouTube, different courses, written, spoken, etc. So right now it's much easier to start. But in 2018, I started to look for something that I could build like DApp specific blockchain, and I found like Cosmos Tendermint, and then I was not very satisfied with that because there was no upgrade mechanism at that point of time. Now they have something like quite easy fork approach from what I know, but I don't follow Cosmos today enough. Just maybe
no time
at all. Like some social, and that's enough. Like some time to eat, some time to sleep, and I'm good.
Yeah, you need to have a life too. That's true. And especially with Polkadot growing so much recently, it's crazy. I mean, look at Kusama with all the parachains. A lot of them have started deploying stuff on them. So they've got integrations as well. So it's crazy. It's yeah. So how did you get into Subsocial? I mean, what brought you to Subsocial to begin with?
Yeah, so like at the end of 2018, I saw this presentation of Gavin Wood unpackaging new MacBook Pro at Web3 Summit, and like in 30 minutes from the scratch, like installing Rust, compiling Substrate, making new module for like it was spot. You put some money and then you click like button and get something from the spot. So he created a blockchain in 30 minutes in a normal, respectable language called Rust, and I thought like, interesting. And he said like you can upgrade your chain without forks. And I was, okay, I need to work with this. So at the beginning of 2018, I started work with, there's such an interesting project, Joystream. They're doing kind of kind of YouTube something. I mean, it's not totally similar to YouTube, but it's DAO-driven protocol for videos with their own incentivized mechanisms for storing these videos. They have different working groups, so I worked with them for like 1 year, but in 2019, Parity invited me to the first Sub-Zero conference. It was like April 24, something like that. And I visited that conference and presented our experience, especially my experience at Joystream, how we build on top of Polkadot JS apps. We built some custom UIs for our custom blockchain. And at that time, it was like two days conferences, and I make lots of friends with people from Parity, Web3 Foundation, and other projects. Like, for example, that was the time when I met Sean Tabrizi from Polkadot, and then Jack Platz from Web3 Foundation. Now he's co-founder of Hypersphere, respectful VC in Kusama, and then like Jam, Joshua, and Josh from now he's working in Moonriver Moonbeam, and Sota from Plasm, and like tons of other guys. And we continued talking in chats on Element. At that time it was called like Riot. And yeah, and also I learned about grants program, ambassadors program. So I joined Polkadot ambassadors in the first batch. I think it was May, and then something around that time I applied to like one of the first waves of grants from Web3 Foundation, this idea of Subsocial. So it was quite a story. And then in like half a year later, or 7 months later, in December 6th, 2019, I presented what progress we have at Subsocial at the second offline conference of Substrate called Sub-Zero.1. Yeah, it was in Berlin, and I remember it was a time when Kusama got its prize. Like before, I remember everyone said like it's testnet, but then it got priced, and they're like, it's experimental, it's not testnet. No, it's not testnet. Experimental network. It's like Polkadot. It's normal. It's serious. Just we need to respect it. And it was like Kusama for $1, $1.5, and everyone like, look at this. How fun is that? It's very cool. Yeah, that was the time.
No, it's true. It's true. And
yeah,
that was the narrative up until late, right? I think even in January 2020, February 2020, I think it was still people still had that narrative where they were thinking, oh, it's just a testing ground. It's like the Robston of Polkadot.
Yeah. So, also, I remember I met Ruben from Kilt on the second Substrate conference, and I met Christina. She worked at a CMO at Web3 Foundation, or CMO at Kilt, like lots of people. Yeah, very cool. I mean, I miss a lot this offline conferences, because on online conferences it's super hard to make friends through this online networking. It's super hard. It's like I don't know, 20 times harder. People are not open to like strangers, but in real life you just came to person, and maybe they have something on T-shirt, and like, oh, you're from Plasma, I'm from Subsocial. What are you doing? What are you up to? And you have easy conversation. People were very open, friendliness, and this is why I stayed in Polkadot, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, it's always better to talk in real life, isn't it, at the end of the day? And we'll eventually get back to that with the events and stuff, I'm sure. But yeah, just they want more people to get vaccinated first. Okay, and Zachary, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself as well? How did you end up with Subsocial?
Yeah, so I've been with Subsocial for a little over 3 months now. Reached out to Alex. They had put out a tweet about needing a writer for doing technical documentation, which I'm not really qualified to do at all, but I reached out anyways. Then one thing led to another, and now I'm here. I'm the content lead and community manager, so take care of writing all of our announcements, blog posts, that type of thing. Dealing with all the chats, managing the community ambassador program, and I'm also starting to pivot more into sort of a business development role. I'm working on integrations with other projects, which we're going to really kick off with that once we get launched on the mainnet.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And do any of you guys want to talk a little bit about what is Subsocial trying to achieve overall? Like, what's the vision of Subsocial? Are you trying to compete with any of the giants, or are you going to be, I don't know, how are you going to try to get, like, just give us maybe an overview of summary of what Subsocial is trying to achieve and what they're trying to do.
Yeah, okay, let me try. It's very good and important question, and sometimes I ask myself, what is this? What is the vision? Because as a startup, you always need to recalibrate yourself, your vision and the like not final goal, but like milestone goals, right? And you look at what's happening around and all the stuff. And at this point, I think that Subsocial is a protocol on top of which we could see endless number of social dApps, decentralized social applications. And in this case, Subsocial, like if Ethereum is kind of optimized for generic smart contracts, right? So it wasn't designed for DeFi or NFT. It was designed to have relatively any logic, right, on blockchain, and at some point people understood, okay, it's very good for DeFi and it's very good for NFT, but in case of like Substrate blockchain framework from Parity, on top of which Polkadot and Kusama built, and Acala, Moonbeam, and all these nice guys. So with help of Substrate, you can build a dApp-specific blockchain. So what does it mean? It means that it will perform much better than any even written smart contracts, right? With all these optimizations in place. Because on Substrate, you're writing in Rust. Rust is very performant language. It's very close to C, C++, and sometimes it can even overperform them because it applies some optimizations. And you're writing very native code. So it performs like at maximum as it can, with taking into account limitations of blockchains, of course, and this cross-chain communications if it's parachain. But still, if you take like a one-to-one comparison of similar logic on smart contracts and on the Substrate where it's a native module, the comparison will be very dramatic. Yeah, and that's why Subsocial is optimized for social networking on blockchain. So it means that we have out of the box very used functionality on major of social networks. Like you can have a space, it's like kind of like blog, channel, group, we call it space. Then you can have posts, so it's easy. It's like tweets, articles, even Instagram posts. It could have images, videos, etc. Then you can have comments under the post, upvotes, downvotes. You can follow spaces you like. And then based on all this stuff, you can have your feed, personal feed, based on what spaces you follow, what accounts you follow, and notifications. And this means that these are social networking Legos, right? Like it's very popular saying, Legos of something, DeFi Legos. So we have decentralized social networking Legos, and people can assemble quite different applications. They can use some functionality, they cannot use if they don't need. They can integrate with anything else they need. They can integrate with Bitcoin, Ethereum, Fiat, any other parachains from Polkadot, Cosmos, etc. And I imagine like people go to Subsocial protocol, and right now we're working on 5 simplified applications in most popular programming frameworks for web. It includes Rust, it includes React, Vue.js, and Angular, and for mobile, it's Flutter and React Native. So having these 5 most popular frameworks on top of which we build examples, I imagine that it should be quite easy start for hackathon participants, for grant applicants to start building the crazy ideas like for social networking, social finance, finance, social, whatever. And yeah, so this is how I say it. Maybe Zach can add something.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the short term, we're not really trying to compete with Facebook or Twitter or anything. And I mean, that's even kind of like comparing Polkadot to Ethereum, like it's apples to oranges. You know, you could kind of think of Subsocial as like a relay chain for social networks, as like a layer 0, and then something like Facebook would be a layer 1. So, you know, you could build something on top of Subsocial that is trying to be a competitor to Facebook, because Subsocial is more of like the underlying architecture and the technology behind all these social networks that can be built on top of it. So that's a really cool thing is, you know, we think of Facebook as like the website or the mobile app, but they also have all their servers on the back end. But with Subsocial, those servers on the back end are just our blockchain. Yep. So you can build a bunch of different websites and connect them all to Subsocial, so you can have different UIs, different user experiences, have a website that doesn't have an upvote button if you don't want it for some reason. But it's all connected to Subsocial. The user base will be connected between all these different social networks. You can keep your follower base with you, basically. And then, of course, there's also monetization integrations. You know, like YouTube takes like 45% or something of the ad revenue, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And we're planning on having like tips and subscriptions and maybe some ads and some other stuff like that. But it will be totally decentralized, no middlemen. So the content creators will be able to capture the full value instead of only getting like half.
Okay, that sounds good. So you're basically going to be a platform, just like Moonriver is a platform for DEXs to integrate on top of. BitCountry Pioneer are going to be doing that for metaverses, and you guys are going to be the ones for social media, so to speak. So
yeah,
now
we're kind of meta social.
Exactly, meta social. So the big question now comes, because the only issue that I see with this kind of project is the lack of interaction from other partners, or not partners, from other parties. So for example, do you have anyone down the line who would be interested in integrating with Subsocial, or did you talk to any teams or anybody, not necessarily within crypto, maybe outside of crypto as well? Do you have anything coming down the line, or are you waiting for people to reach out at the moment? What's the current status like?
Yeah, we've actually got this, we've got a chat with this other group. I'm not sure if we can reveal the name or anything, but they're basically building their own social network. I think they were doing it off chain, but now they're in talks with us about
on like PHP. And there is one guy, he's like a news celebrity from US, and he's building right now quite like centralized Web 2.0 platform for kind of free speech, and all the platform, the reporters and all the stuff. And they're looking for good partners who can help them transition to Web3 way, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And of course, yeah, sometimes there are people who reach out to us, but they have this fear that if it will be easy for people to use our platform, because right now it's required to have like extension and tokens, and they think like this is quite a barrier, and it really is. I also agree with this, but we have some very, very good ideas on what to do with all this stuff. For example, we are planning to introduce off-chain posting. So we still want to stick to this authentication through public-private key pairs, but yeah, we don't really want to switch to email password, or maybe if we will add it, but it will be like optional, additional, but not in the center. Yeah, but you could, for example, create your account. I mean, public-private key out of blockchain. You don't need blockchain for this. You can store it anywhere you need. For example, we can use even MetaMask. And then you basically just sign transaction, put your identity on chain. For example, you create a space, but then you can post signed messages in off-chain, put a signed message in IPFS, and then, for example, blockchain can collect CIDs. It's a content identifier that is unique based on the content itself. So blockchain collects CIDs to all the messages received during the previous block, and on the beginning of this current block, the blockchain, I mean Subsocial in particular, can put like CID of array of all CIDs of all messages received during previous block in just so one transaction. With one transaction, you put root CID of array of CIDs of all messages signed by users in offline per block. It will be crazy. I mean, we are like 40% done with this. So we already use some of offline sign-in. For example, if you use Subsocial for a little, maybe you notice that if you when you go to notifications page, there is pop-up, and this pop-up you sign new key pair that is called session key. So we store it on your local browser storage, like directly, right? And then we sign creation of this public key. So we associate it with your main blockchain account and put in database. And then every action, like for example, to track what is the last notification you read, so that we can have this bell with unread notifications, like 2 notifications, 10 notifications, right? Okay. So to track this, we don't use blockchain. We track this in off-chain, in database.
Okay, in a database.
But we don't use email, password, all this bullshit from Web 2, right? Yeah. We use the same public, private key pair thing, but it just your like derived account, kind of like proxy session key that's stored on off-chain, not on-chain. Yeah. And you just need to sign once to prove that, yes, I own this public key that represents my session key by your blockchain account in off-chain as well. You don't spend tokens. And then when you open notifications, we look, okay, you read these notifications with ID 555, right? And then next time, you have like 10 unread, and then when you go again to notifications, it will send a signed message to database, to our centralized database at this moment.
Like Elasticsearch or Cassandra?
Currently we use Postgres DB.
Postgres, okay. I come from a Microsoft SQL Server background, but I worked a bit with Elastic and Cassandra, so I really like those two as well.
I think maybe we can switch for activities to Cassandra, because with activities it's very crazy.
Fast writes, yeah.
You have different columns, right? So for example, when you transfer from one to another account. When you create space, you create space from this account. When you post something to space, you post from one account into this space, and this is post ID. And with comments, you have this account created comment on this post, and this is a root post, and something like this. You have different columns. So this Cassandra may be interesting idea.
Yeah, it's good for fast writes, and then for fast reads, Elasticsearch, because it returns.
Yeah, we use Elasticsearch, but actually Postgres also supports full text search, and it becomes better and better every year. So I mean, it's quite a challenge to support different databases. If one database can do something similar to another, so we could use that.
Yeah, but it's definitely useful that you found a solution for that, because it was a bit of a nightmare if you think about it for people that are not really techie to have to sign in each time, have the wallet set up, everything. So if you can find a workaround, that definitely helps to simplify people's lives. So next, let's talk a bit about the crowd loan, which you've got running at the moment, because everyone's talking about the crowd loans. I mean, people watching this channel, they love the crowd loans as well. They've been contributing a lot. And of course, we'd like to thank them for contributing. And tell us a little bit, like, what's your strategy with the crowd loans, and how come you decided to go for a parachain slot? Because I know there was that issue with the block times, right? Before, I think parachains are what are.
It is still an issue. It is still. But I asked Gavin Wood for. I asked him. I don't want to say the advice, because like I asked him what do you think is better to go like solo chain, because there is current performance preferences in terms of solo chain, obviously, because on solo chain you can have 6 seconds block time. It's recommended block time. You can have less with Substrate, but recommended 6 seconds. And 2 seconds of 6 seconds is dedicated for execution of transactions. So it's efficient business logic of your blockchains, right? So 2 seconds out of 6. And on parachains as of today, and it's matter to change next year, I believe, because Parity has these plans. But right now on parachains, it's 12 seconds block time because of this relay chain to parachain communications and all that stuff. And then out of these 12 seconds, you have half a second for extrinsics. So if you take 2 blocks of solo chain, because 12 seconds is 2 6 seconds blocks, right? So with 2 6 seconds blocks, you have 4 seconds for extrinsics. And then on parachain, within 12 seconds, you have half a second for extrinsics. So it's like 8 times more extrinsic time for extrinsic per 12 seconds on solid chain. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, Moonriver's having that problem right now because there's not enough space in the blocks because there's only, I think, Derek, you said there's like 333 milliseconds out of every 12 seconds that they can actually process transactions.
Yeah, they're struggling at the moment. I had to use 6 GUI to be able to get a transaction approved faster. It's crazy. I mean, yesterday I worked with 2, and today I had to go 3 times as much. So yeah, it's luckily the transaction fees are super low. So it's not like the case of Ethereum where you're paying an arm and a leg to send a transaction out, you know. But yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the reason you can't stay as a live network, for example? Because I know you have the live network as well. Like, what's blocking you from doing that and just going with the live network?
With solo chain?
Sorry, with the solo chain. Yeah, like being a substrate blockchain only, basically, not a parachain.
Yeah, I mean, parachain is also substrate-based blockchain because substrate chains can be two ways to go with substrate. You can be solo chain.
Yeah.
You can be parachain. 3. And third one is you can be parathread. Right?
A parathread as well. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, but parathreads are not there yet, and they're like I don't know, half a year or something away from working because Parity right now, from what I understand, they're quite focused on this performance optimization on parachains, and of course, but they will be super interested and motivated to have parathreads working when the first parachains will be like how it's called, not detached, but I mean, this lease period will start finishing, right?
Okay. Yeah. So they'll downgrade to parathreads, no, automatically.
Yeah. So at that point, they should be kind of ready, right? But maybe like Acala, Moonbeam, whatever, they can be prolonged, quite a big chance, right? But maybe some of projects will not be, maybe they will not want or will not be able to. So imagine they will not be able to for a different reason. Like what's next? Like they should continue to work something, and this parathread should be ready at that time. So this is something.
Otherwise, it's gonna be like massive FUD. Sell your bags, guys. Sell your bags.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So back to the question. I mean, such as substrate can be solo chain, parachain, and in futures parathread, right? So 3 ways to go. And being solo chain is totally fine, and it is working product. I mean, Subsocial is working for more than 1 year already. So far, so good. We did like 15 updates. It's quite small ones. Usually we just upgraded to latest substrate several times, but like so far so good, it works. And even such as we didn't change too much during this year because we did a lot of work in the first year of development. Now it's the second year, and we didn't change too much because we designed it quite properly, and we just building on top of it and using what we built on blockchain, because it's another story to connect this and link and in a nice way, in user-friendly way in UI. But with parachains, why it's sexy? Why parachains are sexy? Because you can have all these integrations. Why are people excited about parachains? Because you can have stablecoin sort of natively through relay chain on Subsocial. Let's say we are planning to add support for social tokens, for creators tokens. So any creator, brand, group of people, whatever, they could issue their tokens and encourage community in different way to support them to have their bags full of their tokens, right? And then imagine they making some profits, rewards, whatever, and they want to convert this to stablecoin, right? So it could be interesting option. And if you don't have the stablecoin on the platform, like comparing it to, let's say, Steemit, right? On Steemit, there is no stablecoin. Oh wait, is it?
I don't think so. Steemit dollar, I think it's called.
Yes, Steemit dollar, but like it's not very popular stablecoin, right? So for example, let's say people wanted to have some algorithmic stablecoin like DAI or some more centralized like USDT, and they cannot have it. But with Polkadot, with Kusama, we can have it.
KUSD on Karura.
Yes, and then also there were rumors, or not even rumors, but I think some people from Parity retweeted USDT planning to go to Polkadot, whatever. So this is very interesting.
Oh.
And then again, like some like 1 year, 2 years from now, it should be possible to trigger execution of arbitrary logic in smart contracts from one chain on smart contracts enabled chain. So, I mean, potentially it's quite possible to, let's say, you have the social token on Subsocial, right? And then you create a smart contract on Moonbeam or Acala, right? And this smart contract would be like this. We want to incentivize 3 authors of posts posted during the last week that are most upvoted and most commented in this particular space or set of spaces. And you can totally have this type of smart contract, but for example, this smart contract chain like Moonbeam, they have smart contract engines, but they don't know about Subsocial. And Subsocial is optimized for social networking. And right now, we don't really want to bloat our chain with smart contracts, because then imagine it will be even more harder for people. You need to increase this gas and all this stuff.
Sorry to interrupt you. Just one question on that. So is it true then that because you're not a parachain, you're not going to be able to interact with a lot of these dApps that are parachains?
But again, I'm saying that why parachain, being parachain for Subsocial is sexy because of these possible integrations.
Exactly. Okay. I
so
see.
That's why currently we're looking at having 2 chains. One is this solid chain that we have. Maybe we will relaunch it in a more optimized setup with more modules added. Like currently we don't have treasury console, but we may add it. And then from the other side, we're gonna have this Subsocial X for experiment, for cross-chain communication, for exploration, any crazy ideas, more focused on finance stuff, right?
DeFi.
Bringing stable coins, bringing DeFi things to social networking. And here where we have this social finance. So social is current Subsocial is more like social, and then social X would be like finance, stuff. And then they will be friends because we plan to have a bridge. Because who, as not us, are super interested to build and have this bridge. And then on web app, we can have this multi-chain experience very easily. And you can, if you go to SubID, for example, you're a decentralized portfolio manager for Kusama, you can see that we have already tons of integrations with different chains, like all this Polkadot, Kusama, Acala, state mine assets, all this stuff, parachains. This is all integrations, connections with all these chains. So we know how to do this stuff, and we can easily do the same like on Subsocial, just for 2 chains, no problem at all.
Okay, makes sense. No, that's good. Good to hear. And let's talk about SubID as well. That's another awesome website where people can just check their portfolios, and also the NFTs, not just. So I think you made life easier for the NFTs, especially now the NFTs are blowing. A lot of people had no way of checking out to see what NFTs they were holding. They had to actually go to the NFT platform to see what they're holding and connect to Polkadot.js, whereas now with sub.id, you're making it easy. Just copy paste the address. It doesn't even have to be the Polkadot address. It can be the substrate address, the original one, or it could just be even a Kusama one. It automatically links all the different addresses that are linked to that substrate based address then in the end. So talk a little bit about that. Like, what plans do you have for sub.id?
Yeah, Zach, maybe you can start.
Yeah, we've got a couple features in the pipeline still. One that people have been asking about a lot is to aggregate multiple accounts. A lot of people have multiple accounts, or maybe you want to take other people's accounts from a couple different people and be able to put them all together and see like a total portfolio view there. That would also be handy because with currently we don't have Moonriver on sub-ID.
Yeah, I saw that.
They've got a whole different address format, so it gets kind of complicated. Talisman put out a write-up on how to get an account in Polkadot.js extension that has your Moonriver address instead of the one that was being auto-generated on sub-ID.
Sorry, I just have one point to mention there. I know that with Moonriver, there is apparently a substrate-based address, just like you've got with Subsocial behind the scenes, but users like your regular end user doesn't actually see it. So they only see the EVM version. Like, would you guys not be able to somehow get that address if you do that kind of conversion, just like Shiden have created a conversion tool where you could see what the EVM, the substrate-based address is for that associated with that EVM address, and then maybe use that substrate address to get the portfolio? Would something like that work if you guys could do it?
Yeah, the thing is that how Moonbeam works with it, they have directly, they're using Ethereum format of address on substrate directly. But from what I understand with Shedden and Astar, of course, they kind of using two address formats, and you kind of linking them together. So it's more a little bit more complicated from user experience, but maybe better for substrate integrations or something like this. So for Moonriver, the thing is that we ask them, and they say like, you can know Ethereum public address only from your seed phrase of your substrate address. So you have, for example, seed phrase, and then from this seed phrase, you can have Ethereum address and public address and substrate-based public address. But you cannot derive Ethereum public address from your substrate public address. So this is a problem. Okay. And to know your, I mean, we could derive your public Ethereum address, but in that case, you should type your seed phrase. I mean, do you want this? I don't want to know your seed phrase. No way.
Okay, it makes sense.
Oh, can we do it? We can. Do we want it? No, I don't want.
So yeah, that'll be another advantage of being able to aggregate accounts is you can follow that Talisman write-up and get your actual Moonriver account and your Polkadot.js extension, and then you'll be able to add that in with your normal substrate account, and you'll be able to see Moonriver in there. And of course, we're going to continue supporting crowd loans as well. I know I use that a lot because Polkadot.js is slow to load. If you want to just go check some numbers or something, you can just go on sub-ID and it's really easy.
Absolutely. Cool. No, that's been good. Is there anything else you guys want to share? Anything exciting coming up with Subsocial? I know you've kind of spilled the beans there with Social X. I didn't know about that until you said it. So it's good to know that DeFi is coming to Subsocial eventually. But what else, I mean, can you share that's exciting about Subsocial? Aside from the crowd loan, we know we've got the crowd loan at the moment. So.
Yeah, we're quite focused on crowd loan right now, but I already started. I mean, I always collect some ideas for future features and all these things, and we have quite an amazing team of advisors from Parity Web3 Foundation, and the ex-employee, they work there and in past and all this stuff. And these are friends that I made with on these conferences. I appreciate this friendship and all this. And yeah, we sometimes brainstorm together and discussing possible features what we can and in what way we can improve like Subsocial experience. And also we have tons of conversations within team. Also we listen to community on Twitter, on chats, and we have this suggest feature form on SubID and on Subsocial web apps. In the top left corner you can find these buttons. On our boss application, suggest feature. And we're looking like everywhere, collecting them in backlogs on our task management system. But right now I'm working on preparing the list of possible most interesting features for the next quarters, like Q1, Q2 of 2022. And among some of them, I think we want to release tipping in the first place. So we already implemented it on blockchain, and now it's a matter of, even we created the user experience stuff like designs. So now it's a matter of implementing this on front end, I mean, programming it and linking with blockchain. So we want to show, like, for example, a list of 20 top tippers under the post in 2 columns, for example, like avatar, name, and amount they tipped. And then maybe we want to have this a tippers leaderboard on the main page, and posts that collected the most tips and something like this. So we have some gamification elements in place. So this will be the first thing. I mean, one of among the first things to work on. Also, we have been working a lot on mobile application in Flutter, so it's cross-platform Android/iOS mobile application, quite performant because it uses Rust underneath. It's crazy cool, and we have been working on this since mid of this summer, and it's quite ready. Tons of functionalities already there in place, and right now we're working on post editor, so we can have this bold, italic, lists, and everything. But we already have read-only version, for example. I mean, it's quite usable right now with polishing and adding final touches like post editor. Another thing, we want to start improving and making more usable off-chain posting, so we will not be required to have sub tokens and to see this confirmation of Polkadot.js extension. And another thing, I guess, would be social tokens. So we want people to be able to issue social tokens for their creative space or brand or community or whatever. And of course, we want to support more NFT guys and artists, not even just arts, but even musics. Like, so maybe there will be alternative application that works better with images and music files, something like that. I mean, like if you look at Remark, it's more like a marketplace, but in our case, we could be more interested in attaching all these comments and likes and follows to NFTs, so that you can follow NFT creator, and then once something is created, you will be notified about that, and you can have conversations right there under the NFT, and even maybe like have private direct messages. It's everything is possible. So I think these are like 4 major things, 4 or 5 major things that we could be focused on. If not everything from what I said, at least part of it for sure.
Yeah, we're also going to, well, we're looking at integrating some cool governance stuff. We've got a quote from Gavin on our homepage about Subsocial being like the default governance communication platform for Polkadot and Kusama. But it doesn't just have to stop there. It could be for every other chain as well. We've had people from some other projects ask us to add some features like that so they could use Subsocial for their chain governance instead of Commonwealth or Polkassembly.
Wow.
And I think that's pretty common feedback that Polkassembly is not that great. So we're looking into that, and then also turning spaces into DAOs. So we would like to add some sort of built-in DAO tools as far as like coordination and communication and stuff goes.
No, that sounds good. That's awesome. Looking forward to that. And what about the videos? Because I do remember that I posted a video a while back on Subsocial, and I'm not sure if I can still do that now with the, the fact that we can't transfer tokens, the sub tokens, because you guys made some changes for the ticker symbol and the total supply and data. I don't know, are people able to actually upload videos there right now on Subsocial? Or do we need to wait for you to become a parachain?
Yeah, right now you can just insert link to your YouTube or Vimeo video.
Yeah.
And potentially it could be very possible to add support for videos, but right now we don't plan to bother with trying to solve this economical side of this, because we don't want to provide endless storage for your gigabytes of videos, because then we will have big headache of like, oh my god, we need to extend our service, we need to build a data center in Ireland or somewhere on Antarctica or something like that. Like, we are not that big. But from the other side, we can use like RVU, Filecoin, Crust, something like that, to have economical layer for other people that can provide their storages. So this is totally possible, but again, it's a matter of time and implementation. So it's very possible, and the easiest way to add this would be, for example, you upload video somewhere, I mean, on IPFS through like portals, like there are such services like Pinata and Infura and even like Filecoin. So for example, you upload it somewhere, you ensured that it will stay there at least for some time. Maybe you have your own IPFS node, and then you have the CID. So for example, the easiest way what we can do, we can let you enter the CID, and if our software sees that this is a video, it will just show your content streams through this video player. So
people can play it directly on Subsocial then.
Yeah, but users should be responsible for dealing with storage of these big files, because we don't right now we don't want to bother.
You don't offer the storage. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, maybe in the future with Crust Network, because I know they're working on that. So we'll see. Cool. Thank you very much, guys. It's been great. Thank you for coming here, and look forward to having you again, maybe at a later point once you become a parachain, and we can talk about the updates to see what new integrations you've got and things like that. So yeah, thank you very much for being here. Take care.
Yeah.
And if you want to check out Subsocial, by the way, you can check out the links in the description of this video and also in the pinned comment, depending on which platform you're watching this on. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.